95.
And it is now time for Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson, JP.
And welcome to Motion to Adjourn. And unfortunately, the regular MP is not with us today. And I am joined by one of my colleagues on my side of the fence, the Honorable Shadow of Legal Affairs, Scott Pierman.
Hello
MP.
there, Dwayne. How are you?
And, just a little tongue-in-cheek, but I know that all of us have seen the headlines and the press conferences, and I guess I'd like to ask you at this point, who isn't mad at the Progressive Labor Party at this point?
That's not fair because I'm supposed to be sitting in here for MP Chris Famous of the PLP.
Yeah.
So to have an OBA MP, Scott Pierman here, it's a little bit like shooting fish in a barrel, isn't it? This is the second time I've been on your show, though, Dwayne, and I know
Yes.
this is the second time I've been here, and MP Famous isn't here.
I think it falls onto scheduling, right? Because I know my co-host he likes a little MTA.
Okay, little travel.
Yeah.
Well, now that he doesn't have the travel authorization forms from the government anymore, it's a little easier to get around, I guess. But there we go. Yes, well, we miss him, and no doubt he may call in later to tell me how wrong I am. Actually, on the way here, Dwayne, I was telling someone that I was coming on this show, and they do listen to the show, and they say they like it because they like it when you correct Famous after he gets things wrong. So that's nice to hear.
I guess it depends on which side of the fence you're on,
There
right?
you go.
Because
There you go.
I'm sure he gets messages like that too.
Anyway, but who's not mad at the PLP at the moment? I mean, it's
Yes.
there's a long list, right? I mean, fishermen, we've had the fishermen gather up together, and they're not too pleased. Farmers are a little bit upset with the vertical farming proposals and the lack of consultation. They're not too pleased. Even people driving around with tinted windows. I mean, we've got this new potential tinted window tax, so they're not so happy.
Yes.
Our friends up in St. David's, our St. David's Islanders, they're not too happy because they got medical waste in their backyard, which
Yep.
nobody seems to take responsibility for. So they're not so happy. Anyone living near Belco, I guess, they're not happy either. And of course, taxpayers, because stealth taxes seem to be creeping up here, there, and everywhere. So, that's another group of people who aren't too happy.
Yep.
People up in the West End,
That's right.
with the West End primary, they're not too happy. So, there are a lot of unhappy people. I mean, even the PLP base seem to be unhappy with the PLP these days. So it's choppy waters for our government.
Correct. And choppy waters for all of us, unfortunately.
I'm afraid, yeah. I mean, no different for us than for them. That's the problem. Bermuda's struggling at the moment, and we're going through economic hard times. There's some people out there really, really struggling and suffering, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. Is the regrettable truth, and unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a lot of truth out there as to what the problems are and how to fix them. And that's a shame because, what we really need is we need people to pull up their sleeves and work together and try and solve problems. But there doesn't seem to be any desire for consensus political decision making, and which is a shame because, people want their politicians to work together. And actually, we have more in common than we have that divides us. And yet, despite the fact that Bermuda as a whole seems to work together, the Bermuda political world seems to be so strangely divided, which is unfortunate, I think.
No, I agree. And I mean, that's one of the ethos of the show is to try and bridge that gap where you have, two folks from opposing parties. And I wouldn't even say opposing because I guess we get caught up in Westminster when we say opposing, but two different parties being able to share kind of facts and interviews together as a unit.
Well, if Famous was here today, MP Famous were here today, I mean, we'd say we're all Bermudians, right? And we're all facing similar problems, and we're facing them together. And the reality is that if we don't get together and try and solve them, they're not going to get solved. So, throwing rocks at each other really isn't a great solution. It's nice to poke fun at MP Famous, and no doubt he'll call in and give us some grief. But it isn't solving the problems. And I really do believe that most voters and indeed most residents of Bermuda just want problems solved. And a lot of these problems are solvable by consensus decision making. It's only where we differ on the solution that there really is a legitimate back and forward for political dispute, right? It's when you think we should do A and I think we should do B, well, then there's a legitimate difference between us.
Yes.
But where you erect a difference just for political benefit or political gain, or just to try to keep your grip on power, I mean, it's really unfortunate, isn't it? Because that's not helping anyone except for the people who are driving around in the GP cars and picking up the salaries. I mean, it doesn't help every Bermudian.
Yeah, and I mean, just to obviously, I got to play devil's advocate. The people of Bermuda express to us sometimes that they feel as though their options may be limited.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of propose, or at least speak to those people who ask about what the state of the OBA is? Are we ready? Are we preparing, and what our objectives are?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's odd, isn't it? Most people don't pay attention to politics at all, right? Some law changes and they go, what? Why did that happen? And as a politician, you see the gestation period of that law. You've seen that bill's been coming through the pipeline. You've read it. You've gone to House. You've debated it. Nobody really hears about it. And 95 or 99% of people don't pay attention to politics day in, day out, because really they either it doesn't interest them, or they take the view that politicians are all the same, or it doesn't affect my life, or so they don't pay attention. And the problem is if you don't pay attention to what's going on in the political world in your community, then you are just going to be on the receiving end of the legislation that gets passed. And it's it's funny. Let's just step back for a second. I don't think most people think about why they have MPs, right? Why do you elect your MP? And the answer is that you elect your MP because your MP, he or she, goes to Parliament, and Parliament is there to look at the law, to review the law that the government is proposing, hopefully to amend the law if it's bad, or to raise concerns and questions, and to try to make sure that the law once passed is the best law for the island. And if nobody's really paying attention, then it gets rather concerning if the law that comes out is not a great law.
Yes.
And unfortunately, right now, we have 36 members of Parliament. That's probably far too many than we need, but that's what we have at the moment. And 30 of those, 29, because one sits as the Speaker. Dennis Lister sits as the Speaker, even though he was elected as a PLP MP. He now sits as a neutral Speaker in Parliament. But 29 other MPs are PLP MPs. So there's only 6 of us in the opposition in the House of Assembly. And it probably comes as no surprise that when we point out things that are wrong with government bills, and we say this is a pitfall or this is something that's likely to go wrong, most of the time, 99% of the time, we're not listened to. Because, again, that's the way that politics works. Rather than accepting that laws could be better with consensus decision-making, with discussion, with collaboration, it's, we don't want to be told that we have a bad bill because, we don't have bad bills. We don't make bad laws, which is, of course, silly because bad laws are made by governments everywhere. And bad laws would be made by an OBA government, I'm sure, as well. I mean, it's not like everybody's perfect all the time. So, when someone points out a problem with something coming down the pipeline, it's usually better to recognize that. You don't necessarily have to thank them for pointing out the problem, but you can say, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, let's see if we can make this better, and then try and come up with an end result that is better for Bermuda and Bermudians, rather than taking a strident position. Well, we'll take it under advisement.
Yes.
and then not doing anything about it. Because then what happens? I mean, you've been in the Senate, Dwayne. What happens is X number of months later, along comes a bill to amend the law and to fix the flaw, but it could have been fixed on the day.
Exactly.
I mean, the classic example of that, and this was several years ago, is when they moved the May 2-4 holiday, right?
Yeah.
And Andrew Simons, I don't know if you remember Andrew Simons, he was a OBA senator. He pointed out that meant that the holiday was never going to fall on the 24th of May.
Yep.
But nobody listened, and of course it didn't, and then they had to come back and check it out again. So, as I said, I think one of the things, and I was elected in 2018, so I've got 4 years under my belt. You and I are both pretty new to the scene, politically speaking. You're obviously younger than me. But it is disappointing that there isn't more collaboration, that there isn't more consensus, and that there isn't more people working together. Because I think on quite a number of issues, we could all agree on what the issue is, and we could probably agree on what the solutions may be to solve it.
And speaking of solutions, because again, gotta play devil's advocate.
Yeah, well, you want me to play? I can play MP Famous if you want. We've taken over his seat. We've taken over his radio show tonight, so
I think we here, and I know you canvas, I canvas, and a lot of times people ask, does the OBA put forward solutions? I know we do, but what do you say to those people when they ask you that?
Well, absolutely, the OBA puts forward solutions, and you need look no further than the recent throne speech and the recent throne speech reply. Now, for our listeners who may not be familiar with the minutiae and the ins and outs of politics, a throne speech is where the governor stands up and reads the legislative agenda of the government for the forthcoming political year. And this year we had a throne speech. I would say this, wouldn't I? But I do say it as an opposition MP. It was only 9 pages long. It had very little in it. And it rather shows that I'm afraid the PLP government has run out of gas in terms of their solutions. But that is their agenda for the coming year. That's what they plan to do. And that's not to say there wasn't anything in there that we couldn't agree with. There are some things in there that I would agree with and I appreciate. Probationary driving, for example. I mean, that was a sensible thing. I think people have been talking that for a long time. And then we had the reply to the throne speech, which was given by the opposition leader, Cole Simons. And that was an immensely detailed speech and an immensely detailed document. Sadly, the reality is that very few people will ever pick that up and read it. Probably very few people actually listen to it being delivered or listen to its content. But, I mean, anyone who says that the OBA doesn't have positions on things need only look at that document to see the solutions that we've set out to solve the problems of Bermuda. I see a copy. There we go. There we go. No, that's the speech from the throne. That's why it's so thin. But yeah. And likewise, let me address the suggestion that because the opposition is merely 6 MPs and 3 senators, so there's 9 of us, 9 elected or appointed officials on behalf of the OBA in Parliament, that's a necessary function. The opposition is a necessary function. It's a good idea to have an opposition because it holds the government in check. I think if you ask most people in Bermuda who are paying attention, including people who may have voted for the PLP, including people who might be strident PLP supporters, they would likely tell you that they want a more healthy opposition. They would likely tell you that they regret the fact that it was so disproportionate on the last election. Because I think when the numbers in Parliament are closer, it requires the government of the day to justify their decision-making rather than just do whatever they want and ignore everybody and just march straight on, which I'm afraid is what happens more and more in today's world. And that's why, we were being slightly tongue-in-cheek, but we had a laundry list of people who were upset at the government. Well, a lot of those people might not be so upset with the government if the government had to defend their policies, but they don't have to defend their policies because they have 29 MPs who can rubber stamp it through Parliament. And no one really is holding the Premier in check much. We are doing our best. We do as well as we can with the numbers that we have. I actually think in parliamentary terms, for those who do ever bother to turn in and listen to the House, and maybe that's not very many people on the island, but when they do, I think that they hear that the opposition, puts up a good fight and raises the issues that need to be raised, tries to always take a common sense approach. I'm certainly not someone who's going to pick up a brick and throw it for the sake of it. I don't believe in that. But if you're doing the wrong thing, and I can see why down the road your proposal, your plan is not going to work, or it's going to blow up, or it's going to have unintended consequences that will hurt people, obviously we're going to say that. Whether they choose to listen, the old quote, the old adage, the opposition has its say, and the government gets its way. That's what they say. But in terms of the opposition, I understand that. I understand looking around the island, there are a lot of people who say, oh, well, what we need a new party, or we need a third party, or, well, fine. But ask yourself this: who are the people who are actually going to have the stomach to get involved in public life and get involved and get out there and debate these issues, are those people going to be any different than the people who are doing it now? Because, there's this wonderful attraction. Well, let's have a new third party. Well, who's it going to be? Where are they?
Yeah.
And it's regrettable. I would love to see, and I'm sure you would too, I would love to see more people get involved in political life in Bermuda, because it matters. Politics does matter, and policy matters. And I think we're going to.
So we'll stop right there for now, and then we'll take our first break, and we'll circle back.
Great. Thanks, Dwayne.
Welch's, the producers of the world's best-known Concord grape juice, have been based in Concord, Massachusetts since halfway through the 19th century. We've often featured this unique beverage due to its impressive health benefits and bold, unmistakable flavor. Welch's has gone on to diversify their range over the years, successfully launching many new juice-powered products designed for refreshment and portability. With the approaching holiday season in mind, we're featuring Welch's sparkling grape juices, the ideal non-alcoholic party refreshers, brought to us by John Barrett & Son. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Shopping online for large items like Peloton bikes, kids' electric cars, and TVs? Don't get stung by high shipping prices. At ZipX, we deliver the lowest rates measured by weight not to mention, so you don't have to worry about paying more for an item due to its size. We will even deliver your large items to your door for only $5. Avoid the sting. Sign up for your free ZipX account and U.S. Delaware tax-free address today at www.zipx.bn.
You're locked to Power 95, Bermuda's big station, at 94.9 FM, a Bermuda Broadcasting Company station.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Eloisa Mayers with your top stories to the hour, brought to you by Butterfield.
Keeping on top of my bill payments and juggling daily expenses can be challenging.
Why not simplify things? With Butterfield's debt consolidation loans, you can pay off your outstanding debts and have just one low monthly payment to manage. To apply for a debt consolidation loan or to discuss your lending needs, visit a Butterfield banking center today or call us at 295-1111.
With Butterfield, I've simplified my finances so I can focus on the things that really matter.
A 76-year-old woman is in the intensive care unit following a collision in Warwick yesterday afternoon. Stocks of O-positive blood are low, and the hospital is appealing for donors. Tourism Minister Vance Campbell is pushing for Bermuda to attract more international sports events. And those are your top stories to the hour, brought to you by Butterfield. I'm Eloisa Mayers with Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Now back to Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson.
And welcome back to Motion to Adjourn. And as the MPs are all preparing to head back into the House tomorrow, could we get a look forward to as to, what's on the agenda and, what's happening up there?
Sure. I'd be happy to share. I probably should say again for the listening audience that this is not MP Chris Famous. Tonight we've hijacked his show, and this is OBA MP Scott Pearman. And I'm very pleased to be here with Dwayne Robinson.
Yes.
And having a little bit of an opposition hour and giving a little bit of airtime to the opposition, which is a good thing. Happy to talk about tomorrow. So again, for the listening audience, those who probably don't pay too much attention to politics, the House of Assembly sits on Fridays. It used to sit every Friday, but or almost every Friday. But the current leadership, the premier, tends to now sit every other Friday. Sometimes we sit 2 consecutive Fridays. But tomorrow we have, I think, 5 or 6 bills that we're going to be discussing and debating. I think probably the biggest bill, the bill that will catch most people's attention, is the bill by the PLP to introduce a potential minimum wage. So that's probably the biggest bill on the docket for tomorrow. And then we have a Development and Planning Amendment Act. And that's going to be changing the parliamentary scrutiny that occurs when there is a change of use. So I can talk about that for a little bit if you want, but let me just tell you what the other bills there are that are coming. We have a Fuels Amendment Act, and earlier we were talking about how it was unfortunate when a bill comes out and possibly changes are pointed out to it, or there isn't consultation, or people say, hey, we need more time on this, or we haven't seen the guidance or the regulations yet. Why can't we see those before the bill is voted on? So this is funny. I mean, I think it was only 2 sittings ago that we passed the new Fuels Act, and already here's an Amendment Act coming in to fix something that was wrong. So it's a good example of why, if we took a little bit more care with this, it would be a better thing. We have a Bermuda Immigration and Protection Amendment Act. That's quite a nuanced change. It's actually not anything close to the comprehensive immigration reform that we've been promised for many, many years now by the government. Again, that's incredibly unfortunate because our numbers in Bermuda seem to be shrinking. And we need to do something to turn that around, right? We actually need job creators here on the island to create jobs. We need more people to do the jobs, and we have an aging and a shrinking population. And unless we address that and recognize that head on, and stop trying to pretend it's not the case, we have some serious problems. We have a customs tariff amendment. I mean, we deal with everything across the board, right? Parliament deals with the big and the small, and this is a customs tariff amendment to change the tariff amendment for bread fresh or chilled, and change that to bread fresh, chilled, or frozen. So frozen bread is now going to have a different customs tariff, which is important. But all the things that Parliament do are relevant. Someone's going to walk into a supermarket somewhere, and now the frozen bread is going to be at a different price, possibly because of the customs duty. So these things matter to people's lives, and that's why. Going back to a point we were talking about earlier, it is important for people to pay attention to what's going on in the political community. We have a Bermuda Educators Council Amendment Act. I understand that this is a very nuanced change. It's not a bill that I'm going to be speaking to tomorrow, but there we are. That is our sort of grab bag for the House tomorrow. And then, Dwayne, as you know, but again, for the benefit of listeners, these bills will be debated in the House, first in a general debate where anybody who wishes to, who is an MP, can stand up and say what they think about the bills in a general debate. And then after that, the bills go into what's called a committee stage, and the Speaker will actually get up and will leave the House, and someone will take the chair and perform chairman functions, or it could be a man or woman, but it's a chair functions in a committee stage, and you'll go line by line through the bill, and anyone who wants to talk about a particular clause of the bill or ask questions of the minister can do so. And so that's really the function that Parliament is performing. It's that legislative scrutiny. It's checking that the laws that government is trying to pass are fair and just and proper and well thought out. And that's why I think it is unfortunate. I'm going to try and bait a big hook now for MP Famous so that he dials in to speak to us. But, one of the criticisms that is made of Parliament is that, people just sit up there as MPs and do nothing and collect a paycheck. And I don't think that's always true. But I would struggle to think of many backbenchers on the PLP side who have actually stood up and challenged decisions by their premier or their cabinet. It has happened from time to time. I remember that Renee Ming bravely did so a few years ago on the representation of women in politics, and I thought that was an inspiring speech. But that's very rare. It's few and far between. And so here's my baited hook for MP Famous. Please call in MP Famous and tell me when you've publicly challenged your leadership on something about which you feel passionate. I'm not saying he hasn't, but I'd be curious to know the occasion when he did. Because really the role of backbench MPs isn't to sit there and get paid and be a rubber stamp for their government. If you look at other countries where they have properly functioning parliaments, MPs on the backbench do challenge their government, and they do drive forward particular issues of importance. And you see MPs moving bills, and then of course once these things go through the House on the Friday, and this is where as a former senator. Then they go off to the Senate on the following Wednesday.
Yes.
And again, for the benefit of those listeners who may not be aware, in Bermuda, our Senate is made up of 5 government senators and 3 opposition senators who are appointed by the opposition, and then 3 independent senators who are appointed by the governor. And the reason for that makeup is that it allows the 3 independents and the 3 opposition senators to join together where there is an important issue of public policy and outvote the government senators, so they can, on a 6-5 vote. And that has happened from time to time. I think that you may have been, were you in the Senate when the corporation bill was rejected by the Senate?
Yeah, we overturned it. We actually have a call on the line. Caller, how are you today?
Yes, good evening. I have a question for you, gentlemen. In America, they say, because earlier Mr. Scott was talking about people and their interest and involvement in politics, and it not being particularly high. But they say in America, extremists drive the parties. That on the Republican side, it's right-wing extremists. On the Democratic side, it's left-wing or liberal extremists. Do you agree with that, and does that transfer to Bermuda? Hang up and listen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your question.
Well, that's an excellent question. I think, well, let's start with the bit about America first, and then we'll come back to Bermuda.
Yep.
And as a politician, one should always be very careful and diplomatic about commenting about the politics of another country. But I think the question posed is a very astute one. We have seen the 2 main political parties in the United States drift towards the extremes. And I need to prove that observation and to make the point good. I just need to point to the fact that there are fewer and fewer of what used to be called blue dog Democrats or conservative Democrats, and there are fewer and fewer of what used to be called Rockefeller Republicans, who were the sort of more liberal wing of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
The centrists have effectively been squeezed out. And it is a shame because, I certainly consider myself, obviously I'm fiscally conservative, but socially, supportive and more to the center. And I think you don't want to have a situation where reasonable discussion and debate is squeezed out of politics, right? Mm-hmm. Because, if you think one thing and I think another, and we want to have that discussion, if we can't have that discussion in a civilized, sensible, and friendly way, how are we ever going to improve? How are we ever going to progress? Your view isn't necessarily right. My view isn't necessarily right. Moreover, if you and I have a conversation about a difficult issue where we may disagree, that conversation may help us both improve our thinking, right? We may both evolve in our positions, yep. And we may both get to a pace where even if we don't change each other's minds, and we may not, but I have a better understanding of where you're coming from, and you have a better understanding of where I'm coming from. And I think that's important. And to the caller's point, there are very few, well, they're not very few, but there are certainly fewer centrist politicians that one can readily identify now in America. Turning to Bermuda, and I'll give MP Famous a shout out since it's his show. He made an observation not too long ago in print, which I thought was a very valid point. And his observation was that despite the fact that the political language in Bermuda is getting more and more extreme or intense, and despite the fact that politics was drawing wedges between people, he made the point that on a personal level, most MPs from other parties get along perfectly well on a personal level. Yeah, and I think that's true. I will readily accept that there are a few MPs that I do not like. I'm sure there are a few MPs who do not like me. But generally, I get along with the vast majority of the people in Parliament. I think we are all there trying to do something good for Bermuda. Some people have differing views than others, and that's just the way life is. And some solutions are better than others, and that's the way life is. But that's why one of the things that I try to focus on in politics is less about the personal and more about the philosophical or the policy. If you and I want to try to come and reach some consensus on an idea, if I'm calling you names and I'm saying you're an idiot, you're not going to be very receptive to listening to my position, right? And likewise, if you attack me, I start to, my defensive barriers go up. I start to shut down. I don't want to try and get anywhere with you. But that's why I think it is important to keep a communication, keep a dialogue. I'm certainly very happy to sit down with government MPs, with PLP MPs, and discuss issues. And some of them I have a very close relationship with. Some of them I consider I have a friendly relationship with. And so on a personal level, I don't think perhaps there is the animosity that we perceive in some of the more extreme views in other countries. And I won't single out the U.S. like the caller did, but in some countries. But that said, I do think that Bermuda politics is becoming more and more, or less and less civil. Let me put it that way. I don't know if that's your view, Dwayne. Would you agree? I mean, that, to the caller's point.
Yeah, I think it's democracy, right? And the democracy is meant to reflect the people, right? And I think here in Bermuda, we tend to try to draw reference to liberal and conservative policies and peg it to one party or the other. But in Bermuda, there are only two conservative parties. Like one is center in certain aspects and the other is. And I mean, when you really break it down, Bermudians are not a liberal people. Not yet. I mean, it is, you do see it in the new generation. I think that's what the caller was alluding to, which is, you see a lot of Americanized thinking trickling in to Bermuda, and you're getting more liberal, left-leaning young people coming up, which is a juxtaposition to the conservative nature that both parties have basically been made up of, because parties are just representatives of a community. So naturally their makeup reflects the community. If you have a conservative community, you're going to give birth to conservative parties. And I think as younger MPs come up, you're seeing more left-leaning policies coming out of that. But in my opinion, as far as civility, I think democracy is made up of having alternative thought. The only thing that separates one party from authoritarianism is having an alternative thought. If you have one single party and no opposition, you're effectively in a dictatorship. And I think the civility is declining because it's a lopsided house. So one side now has the ability to push through their agenda without having to engage with the other side. Therefore, they don't. I think that before, when the house was closer, you saw more engagement between the MPs because I had to lobby. Now, lobbying only happens when you need the other side to care or to stand with you on a bill.
Yes.
In this case, I think the civility is declining because we lost that lobbying aspect. I don't have to, as a PLP MP. I get an idea, I talk to my caucus. Caucus says it's a great idea. I know I can pass it. I don't need to talk to the OBA at all.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where I think we've had that decline.
And I think to a degree it also depends on the personalities involved, right? I mean, leadership starts at the top. And if you are a leader who believes in consensus politics and believes in working together with others and believes in trying to bridge differences so that everybody is as happy as possible with an outcome, even if not everybody is perfectly happy with an outcome, that's going to set a different tone to decision making and to the way that politics works. I mean, I don't want to stray into the PLP leadership contest, but I would make the observation that was quite a stark contrast in terms of personalities, in terms of the way in which the two men who were contesting for the leadership behaved and comported themselves, and how each of them dealt with consensus or non-consensus decision making and the like. And I think I hope that's a fair and relatively neutral and objective assessment on my part. Because to the caller's point, there is a sense in certain other countries where politics is becoming more and more strident, that people aren't just not listening. They won't like you or even talk to you or want to be your friend if you hold an opposing viewpoint. And let's take a few examples so that we're not just being American specific, but the example of Brexit in the UK. There was an issue where if you were for Brexit and I was against Brexit, Dwayne, people were feeling so passionate about that issue that suddenly we couldn't have a cordial, sensible, civil discussion about that because it was, the red mist descended. How could you possibly be for or against this issue? One can see that, I think, to a degree, a little bit in the U.S. politics, where the people, as the caller said, who are on the extreme positions, they're so entrenched in their extreme position that they just don't want to engage with the other person. They don't want to try to see if there's middle ground. They don't want to try to see if there's overlap. And to my view, that's unfortunate because, as I said at the beginning, I believe that we Bermudians have far more in common than that which divides us. And I hold that belief pretty close to my heart. I mean, I really do believe that. I'm not saying that we're all equal or we all have the same opportunities or we all think the same. No, obviously not. We're not two Bermudas, by the way. I think that David Burt was wrong about that. I think we're many Bermudas. I think we are little pockets of communities throughout the island that make up one greater community. But it's that one greater community that we need to pull together if we're going to solve our problems. And we're a little island with big problems. And if we don't pull together to try to solve those problems, they're not going to solve themselves. And I think that's an important point. But I thought the caller's point was a really good one. I'm glad he called in. Thank you.
I think you touched on something there. And I think it really highlights the responsibility of elected officials. The red mist that descends onto the population is usually fanned by, elected officials in an, attempt to
stir the pot,
and
rile up the base, throw out the red meat.
Exactly.
All those expressions.
Yes. If I come onto the TV and I say, if you don't come out to vote for Brexit, someone's gonna break into your house and steal you. You start to think. After a while, when you keep hearing that and someone keeps saying, they're coming, eventually it's almost like that experiment where it's a joke on social media where a bunch of people come running around a corner and a person, they don't know what's around the corner. They just see 8 or 10 people running. They run instinctively, right? And I think that
join the herd, right?
Yeah. You're like, it has to be something around that corner that has made these 10 people bolt, and I need a bolt with them. And I think that is... that is kind of where we are in politics. And I would love to see a bit more of that decorum when discussing these topics. But just to, kind of wind down, because I know we're coming up to the end of our time.
I know the show goes too quickly.
We're going to take one break.
We need Famous here to filibuster.
Yeah. We can take one break and come back.
Hi, this is Keeble the Captain Burgess. Join me on location for a holiday party live on Ocean 89, broadcasting from the Waterfront Man, Saturday, December 3rd, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Come on down and shop for your loved ones while enjoying complimentary holiday bites and beverages, plus in-store prize giveaways. Discover gifting favorites like Bradley Mountain Candles, Happy Socks, Oni Pizza Ovens, plus exclusive fashions from Ralph Lauren, Hugo Boss, and Peter Millar. We look forward to seeing you at Waterfront Man on Saturday, December 3rd. The party starts at 11 a.m. We'll see you there.
Now back to Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson.
And welcome back to Motion to Adjourn. So before we go forward, I think we got some homework from our chair.
Yeah, absolutely. Since the opposition has taken over Christopher Famous MP's show tonight, it's our opportunity to have a sort of opposition hour. And so I'm going to do a shameless plug. For those who would like to know more about the One Bermuda Alliance, take a look at our website, www.oba.bm. You can see who the people are who are there working for you on behalf of the One Bermuda Alliance and on behalf of the Bermudian people. It's got our MPs, it's got our senators, it's got our candidates.
That's right.
For those out there who are frustrated with the politics that they are seeing from this government and who want to get involved, we're there. Please get involved. We need all hands on deck. And again, to be bipartisan about it, since this is a sort of bipartisan show.
That's right.
For those who want to get involved but don't believe that the OBA is where they want to get involved, will still get involved. still get involved because your political community is important, and the decisions being made by politicians impact upon your life. And so, do get involved, do roll up your sleeves, do ask questions, do pay attention to what's going on. Because if you don't, the world will just go by and you won't even notice, and suddenly something will happen. It'll impact on you and you'll say, what?
Exactly.
And to a degree, that explains a lot of times why you get those flashpoints, right? You get those frustrated flashpoints because people are presented with something, sometimes because they weren't consulted or they weren't made aware. It's a two-way street, right? Obviously, politicians and specifically the government, and specifically this government, have an obligation to inform the public of what's going on and to consult with the public and to properly consult, right? Because consultation, it's an interesting word, right? It's being deployed a lot in more modern politics.
Yes.
Oh, I consulted. Well, I consulted doesn't really mean just to sort of, put something out, here you go. That's consultation. Consultation means to sort of raise the issue and listen to what people have to say about it and to take that on board and to, that's what consultation's about. So,
yes.
But anyway, it's www.oba.bm, and we're also on Facebook and Twitter. And
that's right.
Help me out, Dwayne. You're 20 years younger than I am, I think, or something like that.
Okay,
maybe 15.
Yeah.
But what are other social media?
Well, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram,
Yep.
we're on the Facebook.
There you go.
So the website is obviously the main hub to get some media, because I know a lot of people ask, what have you been doing? Yeah. The media is there for us to, for you to peruse to see what's going on.
And as our new chairman likes to say, it's a new day at the OBA. So
that's right.
There we go.
And just because we have a few more minutes, let the people know what they can look forward to from their loyal opposition.
Well, I really would say that if you have any interest in what the One Bermuda Alliance stands for, what the One Bermuda Alliance would do differently, what the One OBA is concerned about in terms of the government's decision-making, there is no better first port of call than our recent reply to the throne speech. It is unapologetically a substantive, thought-provoking document. It is not 9 pages of fluff, as I would rudely say the throne speech was. Mm-hmm. The reply to the throne speech from the opposition OBA is a very detailed and thoughtful document that deals with important issues in a serious way and tries to set out how we would do things differently to the government. So that's the first port of call. The second thing I think is important, and actually this applies not just to the opposition, but really to any MPs, we as elected members of Parliament are there to serve the people. We are there to represent the constituents in our constituency. And if you, as a voter or as a constituent or as a resident, don't hold your particular MP to account, then you should ask yourself why they're not behaving as you would wish them to, right? Mm-hmm. Pick up the phone, call them, tell them what you think, send them an email, go run and knock on their door, ask them to come and meet with you. I, as you say, we have been canvassing a lot. As opposition, we probably have a little more time than the government to go out canvassing, but we do. Mm-hmm. And it is a very interesting thing to canvass constituents. You have an opportunity to knock on someone's door and to be invited into their home and to discuss with them and hear from them the issues that really matter to them. And that's actually a very powerful thing. And there are not a lot of jobs in the world where you're allowed to go and sit in someone's home and hear what's truly important to them. And sometimes, they share with you powerful, painful stories of the tragedies and the suffering in their lives. And that can blow you away sometimes. Yep. If you're new to the game, as you and I both are, relatively speaking. I started in 2018 to be floored by some of the things you hear. But I would say to all constituents, including my own, my number is on the website. I'll pump it again, www.oba.bm. My telephone number's on there. My email's on there. But get in touch with your MPs. Tell them what's important. Express yourself. Hold them to account. Because, if you don't hold your MPs to account, well, what happens? They just do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. I think that the more we as members of Parliament are able to listen to the voters that are there, the better able we are to serve them because we understand their concerns. Obviously, I come to politics with a set of beliefs and principles that I want to see deployed, and I do have some solutions, although certainly not all of them, because if I had all the solutions and we all agreed, problems all solved. I mean, that never happens, right?
No.
So we solve one problem and then we get on to the next one. Hold your politicians to account. It is surprising how many people don't actually know who their MP is. It is surprising to me how many people don't vote. In the last election, Dwayne, I mean, you may know this because you're in politics, but there were about 9,000 people who voted in 2017 who then didn't come out and vote in 2020. 9,000 on an island of this size. I mean, that's amazing. I know it was COVID. I appreciate that, and that has a huge impact. But if 9,000 people in Bermuda really decide not to vote, that's unfortunate. That's a disconnect. And perhaps it's the political class to blame. Perhaps it's our fault that people didn't feel the need to go out and vote. Perhaps we or the government weren't inspiring enough for those 9,000 to get out there and vote. Perhaps we weren't offering the right solutions that they wanted us to offer. But equally, you feel that there's a little bit of a political disconnect there, and that's unfortunate. And I would invite people to sort of consider if you didn't vote in 2020, why not? And is that the fault of the options that you were presented with? Why didn't you vote? Because people fought for the right to vote. Black people fought tremendously long for the right to vote. To have 9,000 Bermudians who voted in 2017 not bother to show up again in 2020, that's a concerning statistic, concerning both for the political classes and what we're probably not offering to them, but also concerning objectively from the disengagement.
Yeah, I agree. And you heard it here, folks. You signed a paycheck.
That's right. We work for you.
So make sure to check in and make sure that they're doing what you pay them to do. With that, I wanted to do some housekeeping for a motion to adjourn and to thank my co-host for being such a great sport. He is always up for a good bit of fun and a good bit of ribbon. So he is not with us today, but he was supporting. And I want to let him know that I appreciate that he's got a sturdy chin.
There we go.
And
I was nice to him. I was nice to MP Famous.
Wait, is that Sam calling on?
Oh, right.
Just kidding.
Well, next time, if you're foolish enough to invite me back, I hope that the third time I come on this excellent show, that MP Famous will be here to knock me about a little bit and test my mettle.
See, the MPs, they love it. With that, I think this was a good show. I hope that you were informed, and I invite you to continue to listen and support us as we continue to bring bipartisan and as much equality to our time as we can. With that, we'll adjourn for now till next Thursday. And Dawn, you can play us out.
And you have been listening to Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson, JP.
You're locked to Power 95, Bermuda's big station at 94.9 FM, a Bermuda Broadcasting Company station.
Cannot undo what we did in this bed. 'cause I can't get enough. I'm undecided, excited, ignited, and I don't wanna feel the way I do, but I like it. Look at all these sparks flying, but I'm still indecisive. And she want me to wipe it, but I'm undecided.
So they tell me that you're looking for a girl like me. So they tell me that you're looking for a girl like me. Ah, you're looking for a girl like me.
Latinas. Hey, I want a girl like Shakira. Hey, esa latina está rica. I wanna find me a chica que sepa vivir y que viva la vida. I need a bien bonita, elegante señorita. Girl, I want you when I need ya. All of my life, yeah, baby, let's team up. I want a girl that shine like glitter, a girl that don't need no filter. The real, for real. A girl that's a natural killer. I want a girl that's a heater, caliente off the meter. Yo quiero una chica que no me diga mentiras.
So they tell me that you're looking for a girl like me. So they tell me that you're looking for a girl like me. Ah, you're looking for a girl like me.
Oye mami, estoy buscando una chica, sí. Oye mami, estoy buscando una chica, sí. Latinas. Sacudelo como Shocky. Baby, drop it low on top me. Electric feels so shock me. Your hips don't lie, they rock me. Baby, come get me, you got me. Oye, mami, ven aquí. You know I'm like it what I see. Muévelo, 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 así. Yo quiero una mujer, una princesa, no tiene poderes. A chick with no boundaries, that's that for what it is. When nothing in la cama, she good in the bed. A girl that be using her head to use the cabeza the best. I want a girl who's a diva. No quiero otra, así eso es.
So they tell me that you're looking for a girl like me. So they tell me that you're looking for a girl like me. Ah, you're looking for a girl like me. When a girl that shines like glitter, baby, you know I need no filter. For real, I'm real. You know I'm real. Like that my lips are so glossy. Like how my neck gets so bossy. Baby, if you do it my way, just for the hell of it, I'll let you love me.
Latinas, Shakira, Shakira. I like Latinas, ones who look like Selena, shake a bunda like Anita, morenas that's más fina. I like Dominicanas, Boricuas and Colombianas. In East LA, I like the Chicanas, and they want a piece of the big manzana.
So they tell me that you're looking for a girl like me.
Oye mami, estoy buscando una chica, sí.
But closer than I should be. come along for the ride. It happened unexpectedly. Promised myself that I would never love again, but you made me feel something my mind's always on. I was standing in the rain, I thought about you. I was riding on the train, I thought about you. Feeling high like I seem to do every time I think about you. Saw two lovers start to kiss, I thought about you. Had to hold back the tears, I thought about you. Other girls no more exist, all because I think about you. Nothing seems to help, I don't even know myself. I'm trying not to think of you, but a heart does what it wants to do. Pass you by, see you smile, and I must admit I get so emotional. I think I'm falling for you. Bought a pill for my room, I thought about you. Heard Alicia sing a tune, I thought about you. Sends my rocket to the moon. Happens every time. Right from this heart of mine, I wanted you every time. I thought about you. What I'm feeling is so divine, and it's all because I think about you. But I'm constantly reminded that you're only someone who I'd like to know. You don't know me, you're my private fantasy. You're with me constantly in my mind. Oh, you happens every time I think about you. Oh, and I do mean you. Every time I think about you. Had a lovely day today, I thought about you. Wasn't hard to get through, I thought about you. Seems to happen easily. Every time I think about you. Took a walk with myself, I thought about you. Wish it could have been with you, I thought but every star in the sky came out for me, and it's all because I think about you. I thought about you. I thought about you. Loving you, baby. Every time I think about you, loving you, baby. You, loving you, baby. You. All because I think about you, love. a show tonight. After working hard, 9 to 5. Not talking about a movie, no. Or a Broadway play. This show is live. And I know it's you I wanna see it tonight. I'll buy my ticket at the forgiveness. So you sure can make me feel good again. You're so good, love. Jesus, and I'm for. 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 Can give you rave reviews. You sold out my heart with your love. And every time that I'm with you, boy, you take control. I'm your captive audience. It's you I wanna see it tonight. I'll buy my ticket at the forgiveness. If the performance makes me feel good again, you're so good, love. Jesus, and I'm for. 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 Get it up. I can't get it up. So easy. Makes me wanna break it down now. Feels so good. Feels so good. It deserves a
Hi, I'm Dr. Gina Spence. We invite you to share in the holiday cheer by joining our Gift of Giving campaign with a donation of $25. Help us reach our goal of $75,000 to provide pharmaceutical gift cards for seniors, toys for children, healthy food hampers for families in need, and our Champions program. To donate, call 296-0016 or visit GinaSpenceProductions.com. What better way to celebrate the holiday season than sharing the gift of giving?
Give the gift of choice this Christmas with a Dine Around card redeemable at Barracuda Grill, Pickled Onion, Hog Penny, Frog and Onion, Brew, and our newest edition, Bolero. Enjoy 4 special value multi-course meals through the end of March for only $199. And don't forget, Island Restaurant Group gift cards never expire. Visit us online at irg.bm for more information and stop in at any location to purchase a tasty gift of choice. So dash to dine for just $1.99 for 4 meals at Pickled Onion, Barracuda Grill, Bolero, Hog Penny, Frog and Onion, and Brew.
Attention shoppers, the Court Street Market presents our Christmas extravaganza. Join us this Sunday, December 4th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. and again on Sunday, December 18th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Shop at the Court Street Market for a chance to win great prizes. We have over 50 vendors for your shopping needs. Come join us and be a part of our Christmas markets on Court Street. This event is sponsored by the Corporation of Hamilton and the BEDC. See you there.
Dashing to the store for the new iPhone 14. Lots of money to save, including on a new TV, laptops and iPads for the moms and dads. What fun it is to shop for gifts when saving with OneCom. Oh, shop our deals online or in our store. We've got everything you need and probably some more. Hey!
With major savings on phones, TVs, laptops, and more, OneCom has gifts for everyone in store. Shop onecom.bm today.
Hey, Bermuda, here's something for you to think about. Forget that. Second thought. Take this. Come on. Another blaze of jam to your ear hole. Up loud. Exclusive. On the big station. Power 95 FM.
Last night I saw you standing, and Good evening, Bermuda. It is 6:27 p.m. I am your host, Ms. Miles, and this is The Vote. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We have a great interview coming up shortly with Miss Gina Spence about some great things that are being done this month, as well as great music and great topics. So don't you go nowhere.
Kind of love will keep you coming back. If I love you, love me right back. Don't ever leave me, girl, no do me that. So please stay, don't walk away. Give me another chance to love you the right way. Yeah. My true feelings pushing out. Woman, you love me, can't do without. Yeah.
Who am I without you by my side? Every little piece of my heart broken in the dark, wishing I could hold you now. When you were here for me, I was not there for you. I was too blind, couldn't see what you done for me. Now I don't know what to do. I'll be right here for you. I'll be calling out for you. Can you hear me?
Attention shoppers, the Court Street Market presents our Christmas extravaganza. Join us this Sunday, December 4th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. and again on Sunday, December 18th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Shop at the Court Street Market for a chance to win great prizes. We have over 50 vendors for your shopping needs. Come join us and be a part of our Christmas markets on Court Street. This event is sponsored by the Corporation of Hamilton and the BEDC. See you there.
Check. Turn it up. On your radio. In your car. On your smartphone. iPod. Listen all day. Or iPad. We are your #1 station. Blazing. Blazing like that still.
Blazing hot music, you know what I mean?
Blazing hip-hop and R&B. You already know what it is.
Most hip-hop and R&B.
Power 95 FM.
conversation. When it comes to dope relations, I ain't never had to fake one. It's gotta be some kind of catch, he's too perfect. All this loving you're giving me, even though I know I'm worth it. He be buying in bags, spending that cash, make it right back. Texting me, call me right back. You know that every girl really love that. He be taking care of me and I don't have to ask. He ain't nothing like I had in the past. Stay up in the gym, gotta keep my body tight. He be buying in bags, spending that cash, make it right back. Texting me, call me right back. You know that every girl really love that. He be taking care of me and I don't have to ask. He ain't nothing like I had in the past.
That was Real One by Shantae Moore. And I told you guys I have Miss Gina Spence Productions in the building. Hi, Gina. Her and Mikey. How are you guys tonight?
Hey. Good. We're happy to be here. And congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Holding it down for the ladies. That's what I'm talking about.
And just as you girls are as well. So you know how ladies do.
Yes.
And we have to stick together. So it's really nice to see what you are out here doing. So tell us more about this Gift for Giving drive-through and how it works.
Sure. So I'll start with the Gift of Giving campaign, and Mikey will talk about the toy drive.
Okay.
And so the Gift of Giving campaign, I've been doing, like I said earlier, I go 60 next year, and I've been doing this work in the community for next year will be 45 years.
Oh.
I started in high school, and so this particular event, the Christmas Gift of Giving, I actually started it down at the Parsonsville Playground 25 years ago, and I was just giving out knapsacks, like backpacks, and I'm saying backpacks, toys, and we actually hosted it here a few times in the parking lot.
Right.
We've had it in various locations, but the whole concept is to be able to provide toys for children, healthy food items for families, not Christmas turkeys, hams, and what is it? Stuffing.
Yum, right.
Like we did what you eat after Christmas,
Okay,
because there are so many great drives around Christmas time, but after Christmas, you need the other
Exactly.
essentials.
People still need things.
Exactly. And we don't want to duplicate what's already being done. So
Right.
we would do what items that you can have after Christmas. And then we take care of our seniors. We do a gift card to help seniors with medication. And so those are the 3 items that we do. We do this in partnership with the Tessera's family of stations. And Mike is going to talk about the toy drive. But the whole idea is that there are so many families in need. And even though COVID is what we would call post, but there are so many people still struggling. There are so
Yes.
many people who didn't even really catch themselves. There's still people looking for work. There are people who never really got back on top. And so, we're here to help those persons and others who are in need of these items. And so we are so excited this year that we are able to do it again. And we look forward to encouraging people to go to our website and register. GinaSpenceProductions.com is where they can go. They can also donate on our website. You may have gotten a postcard or a letter from myself. Every year around Thanksgiving, we do a mass post mail out to the entire island. And that gives me the opportunity to thank people personally, because everybody does email, but I like to do something more personal.
Yes.
So I send out the letter. I, take time to thank people for helping us all year round, because there are a number of things that we do. And so what we do ask each household is if they can donate $25. So if you got 5 people in the house, everybody gets $5. That's $25, or whatever they can give. But we know that if people can provide us with the $25 from each household, we can definitely meet our mark, which is $75,000 to give all the toys, all the seniors cards, and all of the healthy food items. So that's basically what the Christmas gift of giving is all about.
Very interesting. But where does your personal drive to help others stem from?
Well, I come from a family of 13. My mom was a single parent. And, lots of people helped my mom. The neighbors, some of my school counselors, just people who just knew that it was rough and it was hard and the struggle was real. And I remember, people giving us clothes. That's why the school drive is, I'm not doing it because I don't understand it.
Right.
We didn't have a lot of things. And then even food, like things, we didn't always have all the best of things. But a lot of people helped my mom. So I'm helping other people's mommy. And daddy and nana and papa. So that's where the drive comes from. I also spent some time in foster care. And again, having to be with my mom on the weekends and then be with my foster family during the week, I really got to understand what it's like to be separated and how important it is to, value family and know that, no matter what happens, your family's always got your back.
Right.
And my family is very close. Trust and believe. But I think it's because we, went through so much.
Right.
And now we're all family is big. We get together for every occasion under the sun. And so those are, some of the reasons why. And I am a Christian, and that's what we do. That's what we're called to do. It's nice to pray for people, but it's equally as important to do something.
Yes.
And so I am so thankful for the privilege to do the work that I do.
Wow.
And so every day I wake up, I know why I'm here. I know what I got to do. And I have an amazing team. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. So, like I said, you guys may be too young to remember the road show.
Right.
But Bootsy, Patricia Pugson, Susie Harvey, oh my goodness, this Adjourn, the Danja, and the Shante. I mean, most of the people at the forefront now in entertainment were part of our cast at some point in time. And even in radio, I worked here. I did Youth Talk. I did FM 89. I did the Gospel Show. And so Power Girl and Miss Thing was people that I mentored and worked with, through the years. So it is absolutely amazing to see your seeds planted and just blossoming, just growing, just full of life and doing big things. It's awesome.
It seems like your journey set you up for you to walk in your purpose. Everything that you went through is why you're here today, giving back, and everything that you witnessed. That's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
And it's nice to see you doing that. I want to commend you just
Thank
from
you.
learning about what you're doing today, you and your daughter. That's a beautiful thing. It's nice that your family stays tight-knit and things of that sort. and that you actually decided that you was going to take your time to give back and actually teach your seeds to do the same thing.
Yeah,
so I have to commend you right now.
Thank you so much.
and Mikey, you was going to talk to us about the toy part of it.
Yeah. So I am here to talk about the toy part, but I also like if I could answer that question too, because I don't think anyone's ever asked me that, right? But I'm always learning from my mama. Like, I'm a mama's girl. My dad is girl too, but I'm a mama's girl too. That makes sense. I'm 50-50. But even as you ask my mom the question, I'm looking and like I'm listening. I'm like, okay, but why do you do it, Mikey? And I do it because of legacy. That's what I honor, the legacy and all the work that she's done. I mean, I have a heart too. I'm a new mommy, right? So right now, everything's still kind of free, you know. She's a first grand on a lot of sides, so everything's already paid for. But at some point, I'm still gonna have to start paying.
Just living a good life.
But I think I do it because of legacy. I know I do it because of legacy, and because of the work and the relationships and the rapport that my mama has with the community, you know, I feel compelled and privileged to even come behind her or come with her and try to make sure that it's just greater. You know, everything she did, just take it up 10 notches, you know, the new technology, the new relationships, networking, you know, with culture, with the times, you know, and I really count it a privilege. So every time I get this opportunity, I'm like, yes, Mama, I'll be there. I'll be there. You know, you saw I brought my baby. Come on, let's go. You know, 3 generations of this.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that's what we do. So, as far as the holiday toy drive, we have to big up the Tesoro Family Service stations. They provide the location for the toys to be dropped off, right? So you have Ward Gas Station, North Shore, St. John's, and East Broadway. Where you can go anytime that the gas stations are open and drop off pre-loved toys or a brand new toy if you like. And in addition to that, say you don't have access to toys or that's not something that you're able to do, if you go to get gas, which a lot of people do.
Yes,
a lot of people do, right? So, for example, it costs me $75 to fill up my tank. So if I go to the gas station, I'll get $75 and then I'll round up and give the charity, which happens to be us, $5 towards the donation. So we're encouraging persons to not only drop off pre-loved toys or brand new toys, but to round up when you get gas. You know, every dollar counts. And I think what's most important is that people like to know that when they're given, that is actually going to the community. One thing that I love to kind of like brag about, right? I'm not really a bragger, but if I have a reason to brag, it's either, well, it's a few things. My family, my husband, Jesus. But this reason that I want to share about now is 70 cents from every dollar that comes to our charity goes directly back into the community.
Oh, wow.
That's a privilege because, you know, many other charities and organizations that do great work, you know, their circumstances or their operations is a little different from our operations, which doesn't always allow non-for-profits the ability to give that much back. So I brag on the fact that our village, our partners, our sponsors, our donors support us in such a way that when money comes in, 70 cents from every dollar goes right back. So when people say, why should I give to you? Well, because your money is going where we say it is.
Right back too.
Right back. And it's a privilege, you know. So we're just encouraging people. The deadline is next week, Thursday, to drop off these items. Anything you'd like to do to support us, we will be more than grateful.
That's great, you guys. Like, I'm really, really glad to hear that something like this is even happening. I would encourage everybody listening to definitely try to take part in it. Like they said, if you don't have any toys, then you still get gas. You can still give a percentage of what you pay towards your gas to the charity, and that in turn will help feed somebody or give children toys. So,
and our seniors,
and the seniors, exactly, and that's a big one.
That came out of a conversation we had with Age Concern. So again, most of the types of events that we do are what we call our events. I mean, we're the only ones that do it, or we're the only ones that do it in the way that we do, exclusive. And so, we had a talk a few years back with Age Concern, and we said we want to do something for seniors because through our Champions program, a lot of the grandparents are now raising the children from the gun martyrs. So we're dealing with them as well. And the Age Concern said one of the greatest needs for seniors is medicine.
Oh, wow.
Because if a person is not well, they can't eat. They can't sleep. They can't function.
Exactly.
So I'm bringing you a big bag of groceries, but you're not well, so you're not going to eat.
Can't even eat it.
So they were saying medicine, obviously allows the person to feel better, and then they can enjoy that meal. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And when you think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So we don't necessarily do seniors per se, but so for a few years we actually gave the cards to Age Concern, and they handpicked the seniors because they knew them, firsthand. But then our senior population grew as well. And so then we just said, well, let's just open it up to the whole community. So if you know of a senior that may need medication, you can go to our website, register them on the website, and then one of our great volunteers, Courtney Harrison and Alicia, along with Mikey, will assist you with that. Now, a lot of people do not have internet. So you can call us. The number is 296-0016. 296-0016. You can't assume that everybody has internet.
Yeah. Right.
But if a phone call versus internet is going to block a family from getting toys or a healthy food item or a senior from getting a gift card, we gotta give them. We gotta make it happen.
Yeah.
So we are very excited about that, and the fact that our seniors are just so grateful because one of our partners, and Mike is going to talk about the partners in a minute, is the Bermuda Post Office.
Okay.
I was a post lady for 15 years. And I love the job, but they came and said, how can we support you guys in what you're doing? And what they do is Phoenix puts together the gift pack. So not only do they get a card for medicine, but they get heart monitors. They get all those little things that seniors need to use throughout the journey in a nice gift pack. And the postmen and the wonderful post ladies of this island called Bermuda deliver every single package to the doorstep.
Oh, wow.
So the post office does us a huge service, and our seniors. And so, we're excited that we can do these things because some seniors don't have transportation. Some of them, are not able to go out and about as they used to. So we just make sure it gets to them.
So question I have would be, these are ways for people to give to the charity and things, but how about people that are listening and saying, wow, I have people that I know need help. How do they reach out to you guys, whereas they become a part of the people that you are giving back to?
Sure. So everything about our website is user friendly. So I'm gonna take a moment to, hopefully he can hear me. Melvin. I always say his name like that. Melvin, the founder and owner of Mediaville, ensures that our website is completely what some people call dumb proof or dummy proof, user friendly. Like people like, I just can't get this computer joint. Help me, or my phone. Like whatever medium you need to connect through our website, our website does that. So Gina Spence Productions with an S.com is where anyone can call. Anyone can go and register. If not, 296-0016, you give us a call and one of our volunteers will just take all your information and submit the application online. Now, what I'd like to share about your question is our process is an application process, which means it requires an approval, right? Now, we're only able to give what we receive. So we run the campaign, we solicit our community to support us, and then we approve. So the distribution is actually next week, Saturday. But as far as the intricate details of the location and the time, we only share to those who are approved so that those who are approved can get it, and those who are not, they don't feel misled or know ahead of time, okay, I have to go and get some help somewhere else. But I can confidently say that the past, I think, 4 years, we have never had to turn people down for Christmas. And that is because of our community. We're receiving the funds. This is a campaign, and Bermuda shows up, and they show out. Everybody's auntie, nana, cousin, nephew, so-and-so shows up and really supports. So, I really want to say thank you to our annual individual, private, anonymous, community level donors, because they allow people who come to the website to be able to get their needs met.
Yeah, that's amazing, you guys.
Yeah.
And you know, big shout out to all the people involved, the gas stations, the people that are supporting, that are going ahead and donating. You know, you guys, your whole team, everybody.
Yes.
I wish you guys the best.
It's definitely an army, you know. I mean, when we look at the amount of volunteers it takes just to sort toys. I mean, when I say we get toys, we get boxes and boxes. You know, when we talk about the amount of seniors that we have, because you got to put the name, the address, like all the information has to be sorted. And even the healthy food hampers, you know, you're talking about tons of boxes of rice, tons of, you know, like it's just so much.
Wow.
But the village, the people that help to make it happen, and our sponsors, which Mikey will name, without them we cannot do it.
Exactly.
We do have a number. We have a $75,000 mark that we meet, and every year we've surpassed it, thanks to Bermuda. And that mark allows us to do how many hampers, fruits and toys?
200 healthy food hampers. 300 toys for children, and 100 pharmaceutical cards for seniors.
Congratulations.
So that's what the $75,000 helps us to pay for.
Well done, Bermuda.
Exactly, every year. So big shout out to our sponsors. I'm starting, but it's all good. I'm starting with BGA, because BGA is where the food is at people. All right. So BGA comes in and like boom bam, here's some rice, here's some macaroni, here's some pasta salad. So the story behind the healthy food hampers is we actually met with a nutritionist to say, listen, we only have this amount of people. What items would you say are healthy but also can stretch? You know what I mean? Turn the rice into chicken fried rice, and then after that becomes rice with gravy and just escalates, right?
Exactly.
To the casserole and then stir it up. But BGA provides the food for the hampers, so we're very thankful for them and their sponsorship. Then we have Phoenix. They are amazing. They create personalized pharmaceutical cards for our seniors. But it literally has our logo on there. And they took the time to create our own cards, you know. And we really, really thank them for that, because that's a cost to print a card with our color ink, which is additional to their color ink. So you're talking about 3 prints, right? Those intricate details, we know that it costs, and we don't take that for granted. So we're really, really thankful for them. And then we have Restoration Ministries, which is a church that has said, you know what, we see what you're doing, we have our thing, but let's just support so we both get the need met. They provide the facility, they provide a bulk of their volunteers, in addition to a generous monetary donation, so that we can double up on the areas that we may not reach. So we're super grateful for them. And then we have Bermuda Pest Control. They always support us. Mediaville, Melvin. We love you, Melvin. We talked about the post office. I also want to segue for a minute and thank the ladies at the Warwick Post Office. So as my mom shared, she worked there for 15 years. She worked at the Warwick location. So her gang, her crew, us like they've been there forever, on Tam and the crew, you know, they actually, so what happens is, people, if you want the inside back scoop, here it is. Listen up, okay? Here it is. So Teddy from Tessera Service at gas stations, they collect all the toys, and then they act like Santa, truck it and go right to the Warwick Post Office, and then the staff of the Warwick Post Office sort through all the toys by gender and age, so that by the time they get to the next operation, which is the volunteers, when we start to label, they're already sorted.
Oh wow!
So it's a 3-man team. I'm telling you, like the village is real, you know.
Right.
So shout out to the post office for delivering it, but they also got their hands dirty and they sort through the toys and say, "Oh, this ain't cute, next."
Exactly.
You know, or this is good. Put this here, like they, you know, like it's a part of it. So we're really, really grateful for them. And then One Communications as well. They make sure our lines are open and they're strong and they're accessible. And in addition to that, of course, to Sarah's Family Service of Stations, we cannot go without them. They started the standard of what it looks like to really partner, and everyone else who's joined just continue to follow suit. So thank you guys. You're amazing. Without our partners and our sponsors, we couldn't do what we do.
Exactly. Well, thank you, ladies, for coming through.
Yeah,
thank
for
you.
And sharing this information. And the date again for the next week, Thursday?
Yeah, so next week, Thursday, is the deadline to drop off your items or round up.
You heard that, guys. Next week, Thursday. So
Next
make
week,
sure you get on it. You have a couple more days to go.
Yes.
Friday.
And this Friday, meaning tomorrow, is the deadline for people to register.
Okay.
So listen, Bermuda loves to forward a little WhatsApp link, right?
Yeah.
Forward the registration link, people.
Yeah, send that around.
Yeah.
So that people can register, you know. People don't always have access to radio, but whoever's listening knows someone else. So get the word out.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
Finally, I know we got to go, but people often ask me, you know, so you're given all these things. What do you want for Christmas, right? And so my response is very, very basic to me anyway. So we have billionaires in Bermuda, right? And millionaires in Bermuda.
Right.
We need a building. We have outgrown our space. We are reaching community that is so much bigger than it was 10 years ago. The need is greater. And so I am bold enough to ask someone out there who either has the funding or the building. The community will come and paint it and, we hook it up.
Exactly.
But we need a building. So if you're listening and you know someone that has a building or you would like to provide a building for our charity, we have a car outside that we didn't buy. The car was donated by the Pembroke Rotary, right? So you have to ask, and people have to understand the need, and we need a building. So that's my Christmas wish. And just stay tuned. We're going to be doing some rebranding next year. We're going to be introducing some new programs next year, and that's why we need the space. So thank you so
You're
much.
amazing.
No problem. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for coming through. You guys, you heard it here. Make sure you get your support, and if you have that building or access to that building, let's make it happen.
Listen to
It's been great. That's Gina Spence, the Christmas Community Gift of Giving Drive-Thru. Make sure you guys be a part of it. It is 6:58 p.m. We're going to get back into some music. Have a great night, everybody. Keep it locked.
Playing your favorite jams real loud.
They gonna keep me tuned in.
Yo, what's happening? It's the big boss, Ricky Ross.
The gentleman, a.k.a. Neo.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Kanye West.
Yes, that little Chico Pitbull.
Gets into your head and you can't get it out.
It's Power 95 FM, Bermuda's big station.
Strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song.
Yo, this is why Clef, Refugee Cat, cries well. Little bass sitting up here on the bass. While I'm on this road, I got my girl L. One time. Hey yo L, you know you got the lyrics.
I heard he sang a good song. I heard he had a style. And so I came to see him and listen for a while. And there he was, this young boy, stranger to my eyes, strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with this song, killing me softly with this song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song. I felt all flushed with fever, embarrassed by the crowd. I felt he found my letters and read each one out loud. I prayed that he
Wyclef Croswell. My man.
You're locked to Power 95, Bermuda's big station at 94.9 FM, a Bermuda Broadcasting Company station.
She's alright. That girl's alright with me. Yeah.
Hey girl, I can lick it, I can ride it while you slipping and sliding. I can do all them little tricks and keep the up inside it. You can smack it, you can grip it, you can go down and kiss it. And every time he leave me alone, he always tell me he miss it. He wanna F-R-E-A-K, F-R-E-A-K, F-R-E-A-K. One thing about me, I'm the baddest alive. He know the prettiest didn't come until I arrive. I don't let get to me, I they man if they try. I